Sometimes getting beat down or getting behind is the catalyst to help to finally push you forward and do what you should have done from the beginning. Welcome back to the Real Producers Podcast. I am your host, Remington Ramsey, and today, from Uber driver to Uber success in real estate, Mr. Ryan Lawasani in the Columbus market. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You have quite an amazing story before you even get into real estate. Persian, and your parents are Iranian, and you lived in Germany for 6 years. You speak fluent German. This podcast will be in English. But you had a pretty rocky start early on in life, making it all the way to America. So do you want to kind of fill us in on early life in Germany?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, my parents are Iranians, basically same thing as Persian. We came to Germany. We stayed there for about 6 years. We applied for an asylum case based on religion. After 6 years, our asylum case was denied, which was very difficult because I was at an age where I had all my friends. And, you know, in the age of 14, 15, you tend to be very close to your friends. And having to make the move to the United States, which we were very lucky because we had, in the last second, we had the opportunity to tell our story to the U.S. Embassy. And they decided to grant us asylum to come to the United States and give us a better chance of living. So it was very difficult coming to the United States. It wasn't easy. And once we got here, we didn't have anything. We were provided $1,000 and they said, go figure it out. So that's how it started.
You had $1,000. Your mom never worked. And you went to work at fast food restaurants, Arby's and McDonald's. Mm-hmm. And you didn't want to go to school. You wanted to work. Why was that?
I think because of my age, because I was in that crazy age where you have all your friends. I really miss my friend in Germany and I didn't want to be here. The main goal for me to work was to save my money to go back to Germany every summer for 3 months to spend time with my friends. The other part was helping my family. The most difficult part was working with my family side by side, to see my mom work there and struggle because she has never worked in her life. And now she had to do this, 8 to 10 hour shifts a day. And we dealt with a lot, my dad being there. So I guess the school wasn't a priority for me. I didn't have enough lunch money if I didn't work, I didn't have lunch money to be able to even have lunch with my friends in school. So that's the reason why I took that restaurant route and stayed with them.
And you were promoted when you're 18 into management. It says here, you told your manager, one day I'm going to be your boss. Was that a contentious relationship? Was that a stick it to you kind of comment, or what was that all about?
Well, it started because in my school, we had open lunch, which means that the kids from school would come in for lunchtime. And I would say about 80% of my friends were at McDonald's. And the goal was for me to be in the back when my friends showed up. And I would always tell her, I'm like, listen, don't make me clean the bathrooms for my friends. And I had asked somebody to go to homecoming with me. And, that day she was there and this lady told me, said, hey, go clean the bathroom. Man, I was so frustrated. And I walked by this girl and she said, hey, what are you doing here? I said, I'm sorry. And she said, what are you sorry about? Are you stealing back there? I said, no, I didn't think you would like me working here. You wouldn't want to go to homecoming with somebody that works at a fast food place. And she said, as long as you're not stealing, I'm going to homecoming with you. But it created this anger and I came out and I looked at a lady and I said, listen, someday I'm going to be a boss. And you're not going to like that. I said, nobody has ever hold you accountable, but I will. I promise you that. That's exactly what happened. I was her boss one day, but yeah.
And now you, so a lot has happened since the fast food scene. We started off the podcast by saying from Uber driver to Uber success in real estate. You drove Uber at 6 a.m. You needed $200 a day, right?
Yeah.
And you eventually quit this industry, got into real estate, but there was a period of your life where gambling was a big part of your life, and it was a struggle within your family and got in the way. Can you kind of share what that was like?
Absolutely. So when I started getting into this gambling thing, I never understood why. what was the reason for that? And today I understand the exact reason. I didn't like what I did. I didn't like my job. I went into restaurant management simply because I didn't want to wear a hat. When I turned 18, I said, I don't want to wear a hat. I want to have my hair out. My hair is important to me. So that's the reason why I got promoted to a manager. The money was good. I keep moving up. But then getting out of hospitality management to a different field is very difficult. And hospitality just wasn't for me. I was a great manager. I did everything I could. I ran the best restaurant. I had a good team working for me. But, later on, I realized that because there was this unhappiness in my life, I felt like escaping to gambling. And I always wanted to blame everybody else for my actions, including my wife. I didn't have a good relationship with my wife at the time. And I would just have the freedom of gambling, go in there and I would feel free. I would have all the power in the world. Nobody was bothering me. I was doing my own thing. And then when I started driving Uber, the reason why I drove Uber was because I basically just quit my job. My last job, I was working towards a position I wanted to be promoted to. And that was just training, just being a training manager, training restaurant. And I never accomplished that because the person that was basically holding the key to my promotion maybe disliked me. And one day I learned that she had went to a different state and had talked about my performance to somebody else that I knew. Luckily, that person told me about it. I'm thankful for that today. This was the biggest blessing because I think that if this would have never happened, I would have still been in the restaurant industry. I would have never left. Because at the end, I was okay with what I was doing. I wasn't working a lot of hours. I had 2 days off and I enjoyed what I did. But that day when that happened, I decided that I was not going to have somebody dictate my destiny where I was going. I knew I had what I needed to do to get promoted. And that also taught me something in real estate today, which I get to later. But when I left the restaurant industry, the day I get to get my license signed off, I promise you, I didn't have enough money to put gas in my car. I didn't have. When I got home, I had 2 miles on my car because I didn't have the funds. I was behind on everything. So driving Uber was a way to make money. And the goal was to meet more people. I didn't have a huge network of people like most real estate agents do. I didn't have a lot of family here. I didn't have any friends that I had that were in my situation. They could barely afford to rent, let alone buy a house. So I didn't have a big group. And driving Uber was a way for me to meet people, to put my name out. And I did that. I was doing that for $200 a day. But then eventually I realized that I also hated driving Uber too. I didn't like that job either. And I had to take a big risk. So basically my entire life savings that I had from my 401k, I pulled that out and put it into my real estate business, into advertising.
Zillow.
I learned
things.
Yeah,
the Z word. The Z word.
Yeah, everybody hates Zillow, but for me, it made an impact because I did my research. I spent a lot of time into watching marketing videos. I knew that marketing was going to be my number one key to success. So Zillow was a way that was going to work out for me, and I did sign up with them. The problem was I was getting so many clients, and because I didn't know what I was doing, I couldn't convert them. So, but I was getting a low percentage of it. I was able to convert a low percentage. Believe this is the crazy part. The first house I showed, the buyer asked me what I thought about the furnace. I didn't know what a furnace was. I went outside. I looked at the AC and I said, the furnace looks great. And the guy was like, dude, that's the AC on it. So, I understood that I need to spend some time with home inspectors to know every aspect of it. But the bottom line is, the point of that is, it's not about, you don't have to know everything about a home. You just have to do a good job. You have to be honest with people. You have to take care of your clients, and it will pay off. So,
and you have to grow. It sounds like you got into it and you're like, hey, there's things I don't know, instead of just shying away. Like, I'll give you an example. When I first started in real estate, I was selling knives and I was selling closing gifts. And when I went into my second appointment, I did everything wrong. I said the word realtor wrong. I was saying realtor, which, some realtors even say it wrong, but she corrected me. I was saying, how many homes did you flip? When in reality, realtors sell homes. I was doing it all wrong, and I ended up quitting. I came back, but the fact that you screwed up, didn't even know what a furnace was, and could have looked foolish in front of the client, instead of using that as a reason to quit and say, I'm not good at this. you went back to the drawing board and say, all right, I'm going to spend time with home inspectors. I'm going to learn this business. And so this was 2018 when you got your license and transitioned from Uber, and then put your money from your 401k into Zillow. And flash forward to the happy ending of today. Now it's not the ending, but the happy ending of this moment is last year you did over 100 transactions. And so tell me, just to put a bow on the previous life situation where you're addicted to gambling, you're struggling with your relationship. What was the change that went from there to getting into real estate and being a massive success? What happened?
Well, I had some good leadership skills, but the one thing I never realized is that I could never hold myself accountable. And the way I looked at my business was, you have a car, every car has a wheel, right? There's cars that are much faster than other cars. And the way I looked at it was those cars had a better engine and they had better foundation. And that's what I needed to create for my business. The thing was, I wasn't going to go back in the restaurant industry. I didn't care what was going to happen. So I really didn't have any other way but to make this business work. So I had to put everything I could into this business. The hard work paid off pretty quick because the goal was to sell 12 homes, yearly. If I would have sold 12 homes a year, I would have had a great life. Mm-hmm. But I sold 12 homes in March.
Wow.
And my clients were difficult because I had to find different ways. 80% of my clients were on down payment assistance and OFA. And as you know, in 2018, it was very difficult to get people in contract. But I learned that networking with people and building a relationship with other agents is going to help me ultimately. And that was really the main reason for my success. That's how I became successful.
Was there any conversions of your Uber tenants, the riders in the cars? Did you ever convert any of those to home sales?
I did. I actually had one buyer out of Uber, which I ended up getting a contract. It wasn't much. It was like $165,000 at a time, but just got converted one, and eventually just got weird because I had my business cards laying around, and I would get such a weird text messages from some girls would write, and it was just awkward. So I was like, you know what? I'm just done with this. Yeah. I'll just have a conversation with people. And the one person that bothered me, that she referred me to 3 other people, and I ended up continuing working with them and the close deals with them. And so it was a success. I ended up meeting, somebody everywhere I went. My name was out, and I met somebody that's made an impact on my business.
Tell me about the nerves, the risk that you took taking all of your life savings and putting it into advertising. Did someone advise you to do that, or did you read about that, or what made you put your money there to say, hey, I'm putting all my eggs in this real estate basket?
As you know, my life was surrounded by gambling. So, yeah. And in gambling, you take some big risks. So people told me not to do that, actually. And I tell you, everything happens for a reason. I kind of got nervous after I did that, and I applied for a bunch of jobs. I actually applied for a property management job in Dayton, and I was going to be a property manager for a company. I never got that job. Thanks God, it never happened. But I knew that I had to take the biggest risk. It's kind of like you like soccer.
I love soccer. Yeah, I played in college.
Have you ever asked that question? When a team goes down, they start off so bad. You could have 2 teams playing. The one team plays so bad and gets scored on. But then after the 75th minute, that team is performing like crazy. And you always ask yourself, why didn't do that from the beginning? Why didn't it play like that from the beginning? And it's always the same. And I think that the risk for me was like that. I didn't start off putting that, taking that big risk. But then I was towards the last minute that I had to score. And that was all I knew. I didn't have any other options. I didn't have any other way. And I had to make it work.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be good.
Sometimes getting beat down, I mean, for what I'm hearing you say, is sometimes getting beat down or getting behind is the catalyst to help to finally push you forward and do what you should have done from the beginning. But had you not been down, had you not had, you might still be working at Arby's in management, had you not have that catalyst of being beat down. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
100%. And I think that throughout life, everyone has the opportunity to success. You had that opportunity at one point. You can have a homeless guy. That homeless person is going to meet somebody that can change their life. It's just a matter of taking the opportunity. A lot of that comes from the way our life turned around. When we came to the US, this is the land of opportunity, right? Mm. I mean, this is the way I see it. The part of behavior that we had was that we had all this opportunity. We just had to take it. You know, my parents turned out to be very successful. My sisters, they're all doing great. And we had it as twice as hard as anybody else had it. Mm. So that's the way I see my business as well. I took the opportunity, and I had one person that made a change in my life. And that person was that individual in the restaurant industry that put me down. And thanks to her today, I'm here. You know,
She was your version of Michael Jordan's coach that cut him from the sophomore year basketball team.
Probably, yeah.
So you mentioned people don't realize how great it is to be in this country. And you say that now, but when you first got here with $1,000 and your mom's having to work, I'm guessing there was parts of your life that you didn't think it was that great of an opportunity, but it turned out to be great. Why is it great to be in this country versus, you know, I guess overseas, and your experience, at least in Germany and Iran?
I mean, Iran is not even comparable. I think that we got so much going on in Iran today with the woman life freedom. I think that's what people are doing. They're putting their lives at risk for a little bit of freedom. I think we take that for granted here in the United States. We don't realize how great we have it. The main difference is that me and my wife, we like to travel a lot. And when we go to other countries, we see how it is in other places. And there's still a lot of successful people there. And I think that's one thing that's lacking in our schools today. Kids don't realize what they really have. You know, being able to go to school, being able to choose your own religion, you can become anything. I mean, just look at me. I was never good in school. And if I would have gone to college, I couldn't either afford it, I would never make it. But at the end of the day, I make more than any of my friends that went to college. Mm-hmm. I make more than some doctors did. That's pretty amazing. There's nowhere in the world that gives you this opportunity. You know, it's the system of freedom that we have, the democracy of the United States that gives us the opportunity. And I think that a lot of time people have political disagreements, but at the end of the day, we have to come and realize how easy we have it here. It's an amazing life, you know?
I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I have been researching and reading about just our modern higher education system. And you mentioned you never went to college and you're more successful, at least making more money than most of your friends who did. Do you have kids?
Not yet. We're working on it. Soon, hopefully.
Practicing. So I'm curious as to your thoughts. And 18 to 25 years from now, when your kids go to get the opportunity to go to college, will you urge them to take the same path that you did, where you got into certain industries first? Or what is your thoughts on, given where we're at right now with society, where college isn't necessarily needed to be successful, what will you then in turn teach your kids?
It depends, because the way I see it, what success means to me might be different than what it means to you. So I think when my kids get to an age where they understand everything and have a better understanding of the world, I would ask them, what does success mean to you? If they want to be a doctor and want to be a hero, save lives, do the things, that's their success, you know? But I would also teach them that if that's not the route, I think college is important because it also teaches you principles. I mean, it's not only about education. There's a lot more to it, right? But I would give them the option to see what success means to them, what makes them happy. If they don't want to go to college, I'm totally okay with that. You can be successful. This is the great thing about this country. You can be successful in any stage. It makes no difference. You hear stories all the time about people coming back. I mean, we have people in real estate that I hear stories and I watch their stories that they have some kind of addiction even to drugs, and they turn their lives around. So to them, that's success. to one of my agents that's closing 5 deals a year, that's success. So you just have to let people decide what success means to them. That's the way I look at it.
Ryan Lawasani from Columbus. My last question for you is, what does success look like for you in the next 5 years? Now that you've seen the level of success that you have seen, definitely a paradigm from where you've been. Where are you going? What does success look like when 5 years from now, if I have you back on the podcast, what will you say is defining your success at that moment?
Well, I felt like I was successful in the past, and I've made a lot of mistakes throughout my career. Everybody does, and you learn from mistakes. What my focus is now is to grow my team. I want to hire more agents. I have some amazing agents on my team, and these people are like superstars. It's going to take time for them to grow and show the results. But I would say in 5 years, our goal is to be the top 10 big team in Central Ohio. That is 100% our goal. And it's not going to pay off today because I'm taking a big risk again. We have a lot of changes coming up that's going to be, announced very soon, hopefully. But the things that we are focusing on being different than any other real estate teams there is out there. Because being just like everybody else is not going to cut it. But it's going to take time and it's going to be difficult. So I want to continue rebuilding my foundation. I think I let my business go on autopilot for a while because I was doing so well and I kind of just, step back. But now is to build a foundation and just be the greatest. Read the book, Good to Great. That's a good book to read. And that's exactly how I want to run my business going forward.
Good to Great. Man, what a great way to end. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That was Ryan Lawasani, from Uber driver to Uber success in real estate. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.